We're failing, man. We are failing. And when I say we, I'm talking about men, fathers. I can't help but to feel after the conversation I had with one of my young ballers today. I can't f- I can't feel nothing but being upset that we're just failing. We're failing our children. And you say, Ray, I see everything you do. How are you failing? I'm not speaking about me. I had a long talk with one of my young ballers today. Got some things going on. So I took some time out of my day to go have a talk, check in with him. And I'm so tired of hearing the same old story that all these kids have. I don't know my dad. I don't know where he's at. He's not in my life. He's never been a part of my life. Or my dad's around, but he never comes around for me. Because what I saw today was a baby boy in a teenager's body who needs a father in his life bad. And it breaks my fucking heart, man. I know some of you remember, if you've known me for quite some time, you remember that I used to mentor at an elementary school here where I live. And that led me to mentor quite a few different kids that I had no idea I was going to be doing. I had no idea that was even going to be something that I would do in my life at all. But coaching led me to that. I am tired of talking to these kids and hearing all the different stories of their fathers not being around. Now, I know that there are a lot of fathers out there who are fighting tooth and nail to somehow be a part of their kids' lives. I'm not talking about you guys because I commend you. And if you're listening and if that's you, don't stop fighting for your children. Don't stop fighting for your right to see your children, for your right to be in their lives because they fucking need you, man. They need you like you wouldn't believe. I'm not talking about the dads who are dealing with bitter women who are using their kids as a prop to hold over your head. I understand that situation as well. I know quite a few people that dealt with that. It's a terrible situation to be in. What I'm talking about is the fathers who just disappear without a care in the world. The fathers who maybe didn't get along with the mom after a while and said, fuck it, I'm out. Not realizing that that baby boy is going to need them at some point. And what you've now set in motion is such a very, very difficult road for that kid. And how do they deal with it? A lot of different ways. You got your typical, ways that they deal with it: joining gangs, running the streets, rebelling against their mom, acting out, failing in school, cutting school, not even going to school at all, dropping out, messing with the wrong girls, messing with too many girls, getting girls knocked up, going in and out of jail, juvenile hall, doing drugs, selling drugs, you name it. But then there's this small percentage that I feel like are wandering around aimlessly, that want to do good, that want to be successful, but they have no idea how, because there isn't a man there to teach them and show them. I feel like these kids wander around in search of any sort of love and affection and even discipline. And you may ask yourself, what do you mean by discipline? That's probably the last thing that they want, but you're wrong. I can tell you when custody of me was given to my grandparents, I didn't have a whole lot of discipline, organization in my life, and I needed it. And that's where my grandfather came in. He brought some order to my life, taught me about respect, taught me how to be a young man, and he disciplined me when I was out of line. But I knew that he loved me because he showed me that side more than the discipline side. And when he disciplined me, I understood he was trying to teach me a valuable lesson. And I needed that. And I feel like this small group of young men, not only do they need that, but they want it as well. When I coach, I have a very strict way that I coach. I try to make sure everyone understands that there's a way that we do things and we don't bend those rules. We do them this way uniformly as a team. We don't wear our hats backwards at practice or at the games. We don't just throw our gloves around when we go to stretch or go for a run. We don't sag our pants. We don't take our team run and everybody looks like they're a mess. We run together. And when someone falls behind, we stay running in running still until our teammate catches up to us. So we run tightly together as a unit. And I've been told by so many people that you would think that this bothers kids, but they actually crave it. The organization, the discipline, they crave it because it gives them direction. I had someone ask me recently, when did I start doing that or how did I become like that? And I tell them because I was raised by a Marine and he didn't fuck around. And I have taken that and I've implemented it into the way I coach. But I'm not overly tough on these kids. Every single one of them knows that I love them, that I care about them outside the lines. And what I mean by that is between the lines is when we're playing games and when we're practicing. But I also give a fuck about their lives outside the lines. I am that coach who will come by on the weekend if a parent calls me and says, I need you to talk to my son. I can't get through to him. Or do you mind stopping by so I can talk to you? I have a question. I am that coach. And when you are that kind of coach, you understand that you have the potential to change lives. You have the potential to make a difference. You have the potential to leave a long lasting impression on a kid that will help them for the future. But I got to be honest with you guys, man. Fathers, we are failing. We're not doing enough. We're giving up too easy. And we're letting our beautiful baby boys walk through this world without us guiding them, teaching them, and they're failing. Somewhere along the line, you have to put your differences aside with that kid's mom, and you have got to find a way to save that relationship with your son so you can raise him as a strong young man and instill values in him. Teach him about life, about discipline, and what it is to be a young man, a strong young man. Teach him about respect. And yes, teach him about faith. There are too many men out there that are using their past as an excuse, as a crutch. My dad does that for himself, and it drives me nuts. I believe my dad turns 68 this year. Pretty crazy. But he spent his life using his relationship with his dad as a crutch on why he doesn't know how to be a good father. And I'm telling you right now, that's not good enough. It's a cop out. And if you are listening to this and you are finding yourself talking to yourself in your head saying, that's what I do, then you're wrong. You don't get to use your past traumas as an excuse to not handle your responsibilities of raising a young boy that you just created with somebody. No, you don't get to do that. But you can use your past to share with your child your experience as to what went on with you and why you are such an amazing father to him, which is what I do with my kids. I don't use the excuse that my dad wasn't a good father. I have just pushed myself to try to become the best father I could ever be. And then I explain to my kids why it is so important for me to do as much as I can for them anytime I can, because I never had it. It's important for me to not miss games, not miss practices, not miss events, shows, personal time. I don't take that lightly. Dads, I don't know what else to tell you guys, but if you are not feeling like you cannot breathe when you are not around your son, there's something very wrong with you. And if you haven't been fighting for time or you've been running from your past, stop running. Turn around and come back, because that boy needs you and time is running out. You're going to get into a situation that I spoke about here not too long ago where I said it's too late to play catch. It's too late to go to the ball game. It's too late for all that. Stop running from the shit that fucks with you about your past, about your relationship with your old man, about the relationship with your mom, the things that you struggled with, the things that you never got from your dad. Stop. Your son doesn't deserve to be a victim of the shit that you had to deal with. And it's not too late. I know someone's probably listening, but it's been too long, right? I haven't been in his life for a few years now. So you give up? He doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk to you right now, but you love him and he needs to know that. And you continue to try to get a hold of him, to try to make things right. And I'm not talking about buying your way back into this kid's life. I'm talking about using the most valuable, the most precious thing you have, and that is time. See, my dad always used his time for his cars. He always used his time for the girls he was dating. He always used his time for something that benefited him. He never used his time for me. And if I ever did get any of his time, it wasn't very much. But I didn't use that as an excuse to be a terrible father with my kids. It's not too late, but it will get to be too late if you keep bullshitting. When I was talking to this kid, man, I started explaining to him about my life before I let him say anything, because I wanted him to understand that I'm speaking from experience, that I wasn't the damn near 50-year-old man that you're seeing next to you right now, that I was once your age. I showed him pictures of me and what I look like when I was younger. I told him stories about how baseball saved my life. I told him stories about how my coach was like a dad to me as well, how my coach gave me my first job, and how he would drive around San Jose and check in on all of us, especially me because he knew my home life was terrible. I said, and I want you to know that that's why I'm here right now, because it's more than baseball to me. Baseball doesn't mean shit if you're not okay. I told him about the kids that I've mentored. I told him about Duran, who I mentored since he was in fifth grade, and now he spent about four Father's Day with me. He would ask his mom, "Can I go hang out with Coach Ray for Father's Day?" And his mom would be like, "Are you sure? He's got his own kids." And he'd be like, "He told me I could. I texted him and he said I could, but to ask you." And his mom called me one day and was like, "Are you sure? I know this Father's Day. I know you can spend time with your own kids." I said, "Hey, it's not a problem. You know why? Because I was a kid who was longing for a father figure in his life. And I understood that. And my kids loved him, still do. But I'm sharing this with this kid I'm talking to today. And this kid just had this looking off in the distance. You ever talk to somebody and it just looks like they're just looking through everything that's in front of them? That's the look I was seeing. And I couldn't help but think and wonder if he's saying, "Fuck, man, I wish my dad was around. Maybe this shit wouldn't be this hard." I told this kid, "I am here anytime you need me. It does not have to be about baseball. Anytime you need me. If you have a question, if you are going through something at home and you need to talk, I am here." And I need you to understand that I care about what's going on with you. Yeah, I love that you're a great baseball player, athletically gifted, all of that. But none of that means shit if you're not okay. If you're not okay at home, if you're not okay with things that are going on in your personal life. And I said, I'm in your corner, kid. He says, I know, and I thank you for that. We have to stop failing our sons. Fellas, we got to get it the fuck together. There are too many young men growing up without their dads for some bullshit reasons. Again, I understand that yes, there are some women that use their kids and hold them over their father's heads and to get money and to do all that. And I understand that part. But if I'm talking about the fathers who are willingly walking out of these kids' lives, the ones that are just living their lives, doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and acting like this little boy doesn't exist. We gotta get it the fuck together. Too many of these young men are so confused growing up, which is why you got all this fuck shit going on right now with these little boys. They don't understand what it is to be a young man because nobody is showing them. That's our job. It's our job to teach our children this. My son always cracks up and says, "Dad, there are so many kids around here that call you coach or that are like you're like a dad to." He always jokes and says, "Dad, you got like a bunch of extra sons, huh?" And I laugh and I go, "Yeah, sometimes it feels like that." But he understands. And I always say, I hope that it makes me, both of my sons proud because it's important that they know their father is not just a great father to them, but I've also opened up my heart and my arms for the rest of these kids who don't have that. And in turn, I tell my son, yeah, well, you got a bunch of extended brothers, brothers that are like not really your brother, but they kind of are. He's like, I know, huh? I just left that conversation. It was a good conversation. And I believe with all my heart that God gave me the right words to say to that kid. And I believe, God willing and God helping me, that I should be able to help this kid turn it around. But I left that conversation and I couldn't help but feel like here's another story of a kid who's estranged from his father for apparently no good reason. So we got to do better. We have to do better as men. I talk about everything from a boy's uh, a boy father because that's what I have. I have boys. So if you are always wondering, why does he always only talk about boys? What about daughters? I don't have experience having daughters. I have two boys. And trust me, I understand that it's important for men to be around for their daughters as well, probably even more. But if you're listening and you're a dad and you do not have a relationship with your son, or maybe it hasn't gone the way that you wanted it to go, you need to do whatever it takes to get back on track. Because I promise you, I I have been coaching for some years, and every time I talk to a kid whose father's not around, I promise you, they always say that they wish their dad was around. Even if he's fucked up, even if the guy had a drug problem or he was physically abusive to their mom, because they follow that up with, I wish my dad was around. I wish that he was different. I wish he didn't do the bad things he did, but I still wish he was around. Even after they've seen some of the shittiest things their fathers have done, they still want you around. It's pretty crazy, right? I was that little boy. No matter what my dad did to my mom or me, I just, I craved being loved by my father. And I just never got enough of it. And I still didn't use that as a crutch. That's all I got, guys. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're healthy. I hope your family's doing well. And I hope your spirits are up. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody. I'd really appreciate it. Please comment, like, review, share it. If you are on YouTube, please leave a comment in the comment section of the video. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right. My website is raymolina.com. I also have an online shop there where you can buy merchandise. The podcast is on Instagram and TikTok, and that is at The Perfect Mess Pod. And if you'd like my personal page on Instagram and TikTok, it is at It's Ray Molina. The YouTube is youtube.com/ at The Perfect Mess Pod. And I need you to hit subscribe and the notification bell on the bottom right so you can get all the updates of any videos that I put up. Again, that's youtube.com/ The Perfect Mess Pod. All right. Make sure to subscribe there. All right. There's a lot of videos up, tons of them. For those who like to donate, I always tell you guys it's not necessary. And thank you to the couple of people that sent donations the other day. I appreciate you. And I messaged you privately as well, but I just want to give you guys a shout out. Thank you guys so much. Uh, I have a Cash App. It's $ It's Ray Molina. And if you use Venmo, I am uh, at It's Ray Molina. That is my Venmo as well. All right. I'm on all the other apps, Clubhouse, X, Facebook, Rumble, Snapchat. I'm on all of them. Just search for me. You'll find me. All right. That's all I got. I love you. This has been episode 151 of the Perfect Mess Podcast. And like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess, but for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.